Hello and welcome to today's video. So this is going to be my Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom duology reading vlog, which I'm hoping I'll read both of these this week. So basically it's a weekly reading vlog where I'm hoping to read both of these two. Now, a fair few months ago now, I did do a reading vlog for the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which I'll link up above, but spoiler, I didn't really like it. I wasn't a big fan. So I'm not going into this with the highest of hopes, but I have heard that people who like hate the actual Shadow and Bone trilogy like can still really like love this one because it's such a different story following completely different characters, and it's such like a different type of story as well. So I'm trying to be hopeful. I want to read it. I want to know if it's worth the hype, honestly, with me like bothering at all. There's way more books than just this in this world as well. And the world itself I enjoyed. I just hated all the characters in the first one, to be quite honest. So here's hoping this is going to be better. So yeah, that is the entire introduction really. I'm just going to bring you along with the week, update you on my thoughts and feelings on these books and tell you my overall rating. So that is the plan. So book one is Six of Crows, and I guess the easiest way to start this off is to read the back. Criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker has been offered a chance at a deadly heist. Break into the Ice Court, a military stronghold that has never been breached, and retrieve a hostage whose knowledge could change Grisha magic forever. To succeed would mean riches beyond Kaz's wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. A convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, the heartrender using her magic to survive the sums, a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes, 6 dangerous outcasts, 1 impossible heist. Together they might just be unstoppable if they don't kill each other first. But yeah, I'm just going to start reading and I'll check in as and when. The book is, if you look at it like that, you can see all these little darker lines throughout it. So I'm thinking that they're probably decent points to stop reading at. Because it's like part 2. Is the next one going to be part 3? Yeah, part 3. Part 4. Part 5. And is this last one part 6? Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to check in after each part as it's split up so easily into those. So I'll see you in a bit, and if I get up to anything interesting, I'll bring you along as well. Mummy! Hello! Okay, so I have read the first 10 to 12 pages of this book 3 times now, and I'm really struggling to get into it. So this is actually probably like 2-3 days since last time I checked in. Yeah, I just can't get into it. It's not vibing. So what I'm going to do, I've read a different book in the meantime because I just can't get into it, and now that I've finished that book I'm going to try this again. And I think tonight I'm going to set myself up some nice cosy reading time where like my only focus is the book, and try and read it then. So yeah, just thought I'd check in now to kind of say I'm trying, but so far not vibing. But I've read so little of it, I feel like I do just need to push through and get through the first bit of like nothing makes sense to truly get into it. Okay, so I've just got to part 2 of this and I'm getting into it more now. It's getting a lot better. I'd say by chapter 3 I was kind of into it, like I was managing to read it quite well, but chapter 1 I must have reread about 6 times. I just couldn't get into it, and then it wasn't even really important. The characters and like what was happening in chapter 1 were like mentioned by the actual main characters, but I didn't need to keep like going over it. It turns out it really wasn't that important, so there we go. But yeah, I'm into it now. I'm enjoying it. I think it's good. So from the back of the book we know that we're getting 6 people together to go on this like big heist basically. We've now found out that it is someone with information to enhance and change Grisha powers, and on their way to be like rescued they got captured by a different group and are being held by them, and they are based in the ice court. We don't know anything about the ice court, but apparently it's never been like successfully broken into before or successfully like infiltrated. That's pretty much all we know so far about that, but from the back we do know that there are 6 people that we're getting together for this. I believe we've now met 5 of them. Like if I go through the descriptions on the back of this, we've got a convict with a thirst for revenge, I believe we've just met him. A sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, I believe that's going to be Jesper. A runaway with a privileged past, I don't know if we've met them or not. Like I don't think they're a part of the group yet, but like we could have met them in passing. A spy known as the Wraith, we've met her. A heart trender using her magic to survive the storms, we met her. And a thief with a gift for nightly escapes, we met him. So yeah, I think we just got one more person, so I'm guessing we're going to get the last person during part 2, I would think, because I would assume by part 3 we need to get a move on to like be going where the story is like heading, and like we're going to the ice court, so I'm assuming that's kind of like the direction it's going in. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. We're just learning about everyone. Not a lot's gone on, except for rescuing one person out of prison, but it's been a good introduction and I'm definitely like getting into it and enjoying the read. So yeah, I'm going to continue reading and I'm hoping to read all of part 2 today, so I'll probably see you later on. Okay, so I've just finished part 2. Jay's there but he doesn't want to be in it, so there's his ear. Yeah, I've just finished part 2 and it's actually really good. I'm really enjoying it. They're now on the boat on their way. We've met everyone, we know who everyone is, how they're going to solve the like task of getting into the ice court. Yeah, and they've also got like a proper like competitor on their way there to try and like get this guy out as well. So yeah, it's going good, it's interesting. I'm not blown away yet, but I am enjoying what I'm reading and it's going very fast. Like it doesn't feel like I'm, how far am I into the book? A third into the book? It doesn't feel like that. Like it still feels like there's a lot to uncover, a lot to explore, and like there's still a lot for us to find out. So yeah, it's a good time. I'm still enjoying it and I'm gonna just carry on reading. So yeah, I'm about to start part 3 and it's going better than expected and definitely going better than the first trilogy. Okay, so next morning now, 6 of Crows, I've got to part 4. So I've finished part 3, I've got to part 4. I'm really enjoying it, it's really good. I'd say for me the only negative at this point is I do feel like I'm ready for them to actually like get into the ice court. Like they are technically started now, like they are travelling there, but I do feel ready now at this point, which just looking at it like this looks like it's slightly over halfway. Like I do kind of want them to be there now and actually like be trying to get in. They are on the last leg, but I'm pretty sure we've still got a couple more days of travelling before we actually get into the ice court, like the circle of the ice court. And yeah, like it's going good, it's going fine, everyone's okay. Like friendships are forming, rivalries are forming, people are planning. Nina and Matthias are actually planning on killing the guy they're going to rescue before the others can get him back. Yeah, but overall, like, it's okay. I'm having a good time, I'm having a fun time, and like all of the characters feel very real. We are getting chapters from different people's perspectives. I'm not 100% sure if we've had one from Wyland's perspective yet. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if we've had from Wyland's perspective, but like we are getting to know all of our different characters and learning about them and what's going on and kind of how they've ended up where they are. At different points throughout some of their chapters we are getting like little flashbacks to like things they're being reminded of, and yeah, like I'm enjoying it. It's a good time, and we are off the boat travelling to the ice court. Yeah, I honestly don't have a lot else to add. Although things are happening, they are very much just like character building and we're learning about them. There's not really any like plot really happening yet, except for like the basics of trying to get there. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying their interactions, and I'm enjoying learning more about them. Part 5 of the book now, and I'm still really enjoying it. Like, it's still a chill, easy time. Like, we're just following these characters. It's chill. They're now in the prison. Like, they managed to get in all right. There's a few hiccups, but they got in. And then they're basically doing the actual like escaping from the prison to get into like the other sector. I know I haven't really explained a lot about like what's going on in the book, and like I haven't explained it as I'm going along. I'm just giving thoughts and feelings. But I'm assuming that if you're watching like a spoiler-filled reading vlog, that you've read the books. So yeah, essentially like they're on the way out of the prison, and I'm enjoying it. Like Inez has just like managed to get out through the thing. Well, we think it wasn't 100% clear, but I'm pretty sure. And Nina is running away from guards because the alarm has been triggered to say like something's happening, and Kaz has just found Rollins. I can't remember Rollins' first name. Is it Pekka Rollins? So yeah, that is basically where I'm at, and I am enjoying it. Like, it's a good time. Like right now it's probably like a 4-star. The stakes just seem so low, it doesn't really seem very real, which obviously like, it's got a fantasy element, right? So like I know the stakes are not going to be the same as like real world because there's a fantasy element, you know. Most people can't make lockpicks appear out of metal. Like it obviously doesn't need quite the same level as realness, but there's been so many things that have gone wrong and there's not actually really been any consequences or anything going on. And that's kind of the one thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm reading this and it's fun to read, but like I'm not worried at all. They're basically gonna find the guy and get out. And you know, like I haven't been spoilt for this. I haven't been spoilt for this series at all. Like I've still got 2 parts left, part 5 and part 6. And I can fairly confidently say that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's it basically. I'm gonna try and read another part tonight, I think. I have got Geoff joining me, who, yeah, is being a little crazy, but that's okay. You're gonna bite me! But yeah, that is the basic plan. Just keep reading. Just keep reading, really. Yeah, I wish I was having more thoughts and feelings toward this, but I'm just really not. Like, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm vibing, I'm reading, I'm going along. Hopefully it stays being a good time. And that is basically the entire plan. So, yeah. Okay, so I've got to part 6, which is called Proper Thieves. Yeah, I'm still having a good time. Things are happening. There's been a slight twist. The guy's actually dead, so they're no longer rescuing him, they're rescuing his son. But I'm pretty sure that only Nina and Matthias know that right now. They are also with Kaz, but like they haven't spoken yet. Yeah, it's a fun time. I'm having a fun time, but I'm also really tired. I do want to keep reading, I want to keep going. There's not that much left. I'm on page 433. It's 491 pages, so I've got less than 60 pages left. But I might call it a night and read it in the morning, to be honest, because I am knackered. Okay, so I actually ended up finishing this last night and it was alright, it was fun. I have decided to give it 4 stars. Okay, hello, so this might look a little bit weird. I'm inserting this like in the middle of some footage I've already taken. Basically, I've just imported what I talked about this morning onto the laptop, realised how badly I'd explained everything, so I thought I'd just come back in and talk again. So last night I did an update on what part 5 was, but I was so tired I didn't really talk about anything that had happened. And then this morning I came in to do a final update and didn't actually talk about really anything except for like 2 major events that had happened in part 6. So I thought, as it was meant to be like, you know, a proper vlog of the experience, what I'm thinking, what's going on, I'd come in and like basically just refilm it so that this whole thing makes a little bit more sense. I'm hoping I can insert this so it makes sense in the footage, but in case I can't, basically this is being filmed after I've already actually filmed the fact that I've finished the book, and I've already read the synopsis on the back of book 2, but I'm inserting it here because what I'm going to be talking about here is part 5 and part 6 and like what happened in them. So in part 5 they kind of like properly got out of the prison, loads of shit happened that wasn't meant to happen, they had to completely change the plan. They ended up going in and it was only 3 of them that were actually going into the main part of the ice court to actually try and complete this task, and 3 of them were having to set up what was going on outside. So we had Kaz, Mateus and Nina inside the actual ice court really putting this plan into motion, and when they're in there we found out that the guy Brum was still alive. They'd thought he'd died on the ship. He was on the original ship with Nina and Mateus, which is how they met. That's the whole thing. Like, I haven't even spoken about any of the characters and how they've like connected to each other, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, Brum was still alive, so they had to completely change the plan again whilst they're in there, pretend that Mateus was like locking Nina up, get the location, and then it turned out that the guy they'd gone there to rescue wasn't there at all. He died during the like crossfire of the kidnap, and they'd only actually got his son. His son was working to get this like drug up and running and trying to figure out the dosage, but it just wasn't going well. But they rescued the son and they basically discovered that how this drug, you know, worked, how it really affected the Grisha power and like made it into something it isn't, was a complete accident. The main guy they were going after and also his son were actually Grisha, and because of where they lived and the fact that they like couldn't safely be Grisha there, they were trying to make this drug to be able to hide that, and it basically just backfired and really increased the Grisha power but also made them very easy to control because of how much they'd end up relying on this drug, and they would do anything for it. So that's how we basically got out, and then those 3, Kaz, Mateus and Nina, got out of the main part and were basically just trying to get away from everything. In the meantime, we had Jesper and Wylan kind of like creating a massive alarm go off by destroying one of the gates, and then we also had Inej, whose job it was to like get a diamond so they could like get all the weaponry that was stored basically. And then the 3 of them met up to actually get that weaponry and steal the tank. And it all went to plan. It was all going to plan. But right at the last minute, Nina ended up having to take this drug to increase her powers so that they could get out of there, because they turned out to have like an entire fleet waiting. But with this drug, because she's a heart shredder, I'm pretty sure that's the right one that she is, she could basically just tell them all to stop, go to sleep, and they could just walk out. So that happened, and it was all going fine. You know, we got a lot of character development within those parts. We know that Inej likes Kaz, we know that Kaz likes Inej, like romantically, but neither of them would actually admit it to each other, so there was that part of it. But we have seen from both their perspectives that that is how they feel. The Nina and Matthias, like, their like thing. It's very much giving like just basic enemies to lovers, like trope vibes basically, and it's fine. You know, I think it's okay. He's obviously turned his back on his people now and has like devoted himself to her, but obviously she's now trying not to get hooked on this drug. She needs to not take another dosage after this first dose. Yeah, and then we also got, which I kind of suspected, and I wish I would have said it, but I didn't say it, but we kind of got confirmation from what Wylan asked Jesper, and Jesper said, you know, like, he's not only interested in girls. And because Wylan asked that, I think it's pretty obvious that, you know, Wylan's got a bit of a thing for him. And yeah, so that was the basics of part 5. I'm pretty sure I've got the parts set up correctly. And then during part 6 we go back. We've got this trip back. We've got Nina, who's like detoxing after taking this one dosage. On the second dosage, that's when most people become hooked, and that's why it's really important that like someone's with her. We've got the son, who like they went and rescued, and we find out right at the last minute that whilst Nina had still got this drug in her system, she tailored Wylan so that he looked like the son, because Wylan like admitted to Kaz, like, my dad, who's, you know, the guy who hired them to do all this, although the dad doesn't know that the son was with them, like, he's not going to care. Like, you can't use me as leverage. He's not going to care. And he didn't. He tried to blow up their entire ship even after they told him that Wylan was still on board, which like he wasn't, but like that's what they told him, and he still tried to blow up the entire ship. So yeah, that happened. And then basically right at the end, so they met back up with this guy after they got back, and he didn't want to give them the money, and the Murchers council that they were supposedly working for actually had no idea about this, and this guy, this Van Eyck, is completely doing it for his own means and just wants this drug to like have for his own use, basically. Like, not for him to use, he's not Grisha, but like for the market and for things going on. So yeah, we had that, and Kaz basically kind of like slip, like not in like a vocal way, but it became obvious to them when threats started happening that Kaz was prioritising Inej. So they captured her, took her off, and that's basically how the book ended. Like, we did go back and see Rollins again. Who I'm pretty sure I said before, like, Kaz had gone into the prison and found Rollins. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. And we find out that Kaz actually left Rollins' cell door open and was like, I'm doing this now, you're going to owe me a favour. Even though we as the reader know that Kaz is eventually going to kill Rollins, because Rollins was the person who put things into action that killed his brother, basically. So yeah, a lot's gone on. I haven't explained a lot in this, but like, it has been a good time. That's why I've given it 4 stars. The reason I wanted to re-record this is because I literally sat down and said the things that weren't really vibing with me, but then said I was giving it 4 stars and it just didn't make sense. I hadn't really spoken about it at all. So that's kind of the actual vibe of what's happening, what's going on. I will say the reason it's getting 4 stars is like, I just can't connect to these characters properly. You know, like, major things happen, major events happen, and, you know, especially in parts 5 and 6, we had points where there were consequences for actions, and I'm not invested enough in the characters. It actually had the impact it felt like it should have had on me. That's why I can only give it 4 stars. But like, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the reading experience, and it was a nice, easy, simple read, and I enjoy the world, so I'm excited to read book 2. And yeah, that is basically it. I hope I've explained this a lot better this time around, so. But I didn't also expect Inej to be like captured by him, and like, you know, like, book 2 is obviously all going to be about getting Inej back, I would assume. So yeah, it was fun. I had a fun time. I've given it 4 stars. I'm intrigued and excited to read the second book, but it's also one of those where I can already tell that like, I'm really glad it's only a duology, because I'm just not invested enough in the characters. Like, I don't care enough about them. Moving on, next book to read is Crooked Kingdom. So I'm going to read the back of this and then get straight into it, and I'm probably going to do the exact same as I did for the first book, and just at the end of each part, because again this is split into parts, so like a little bit in we've got part 2, just come in, check up what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, is there anything interesting going on. So on the back of the book it says, Kaz Brecker and his crew pulled off a heist so daring even they didn't think they'd survive. But instead of divvying up a fat reward, they're fighting for their lives. Double-crossed and badly weakened, the crew is low on resources, allies and hope. As old rivals and new enemies descend on Ketterdam to root out the secrets of Juda Perem, a dangerous substance capable of altering the very fabric of Grisha magic, Kaz's cunning and his team's fragile loyalties are tested to their limit. A war will be waged within the city's dark and twisting streets, a battle for revenge and redemption that will decide the future of magic and the fate of the world. It doesn't draw me in, but it's obviously book 2, we already have the characters there. Let's give it a read and see where we're going to go with it. Okay, so I've just got to the end of part 1, so I'll be starting part 2 very shortly. Not a lot's happened. We've only actually had, I think it was 4 chapters in part 1. We had one from the guy who was the fabricator at the very start of book 1, where it basically just gets snatched. I think it's pretty obvious they were snatching Grisha to test this drug on, or test what they're trying to remake this drug with on. And then we eventually got chapter 2 was from Wyland's perspective, which in the entire book 1 we didn't get a single chapter from Wyland's perspective, so that was fun. And then yeah, so we had Wyland, Matthias, and then we got an edge. So for Wyland and Matthias's chapters, we saw that they were on the last day of being able to make the deal with like Van Eyck. They needed to make a deal with him tomorrow. They'd basically done like a whole like undercover thing. They'd broken into this guy's house, found all of the buildings that like Van Eyck could be using, and they think they know where she's being kept, and then they're planning breaking her out. So then the last chapter we just got was from Ineji's perspective, and she tried to break out herself but got caught. Van Eyck was going to break her legs, but obviously like she reasoned with him in a way where it was like, if you break my legs I won't be of any use to them anymore, like they're not going to make a bargain with you. And she knows that basically by tomorrow, if like she either hasn't given up Kaz's location or Kaz hasn't made a deal with Van Eyck himself, they're going to break her legs. But obviously she doesn't know that they're on the way together, like they're literally planning how to get her out right now. Yeah, not a lot has happened except for the fact that we just kind of learn where everyone is. It started off like 6 days after we left the last book. And yeah, it's all just pretty chill to be honest, but I'm enjoying it. It's a good time and I'm going to continue reading, so that is the plan. Okay, so I finished part 2 of the book. I have no idea what this book's going to try and do. We've got an edge back. I mean, they don't have their money yet, so I guess there's that. But right at the end of part 2, the shoe with wings have just started like coming out and trying to capture Grisha, which obviously we saw happen at the start with the older fabricator. But it was happening like where everyone was, and we think they were trying to get Nina. They didn't get her, but that's what we're thinking. But I don't know if it's trying to make that into the story, because it was like, they have metal under their skin. Who are they? Are they people? Are they what do you call them, like machines basically? Yeah, so I don't know what route this is going down. Like I'm honestly so confused, because it feels like right now everything's kind of concluded from like what we'd still got going on in book 1. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading. I really don't have much of an update. They got in edge back. I don't know. Okay, so I've got to the end of part 3. I'm about to start part 4. I will just say we're literally in like the middle of another heatwave right now, so if I don't make perfect sense, that is probably why. It's boiling and I'm struggling to even think, so yes. What's been happening? What are my thoughts? Honestly, I don't really have any thoughts. I don't really care. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a fun time. Like, I've actually got the audiobook for this one and I'm just like listening to it, and like at parts I'm reading along physically as well. At parts I'm like cleaning the house. It's okay. It's difficult because like, yeah, the story's alright, you know, like we're getting it from everyone's perspective still, like all 6 perspectives, and we're understanding things, coming across things, but everything that's happening I'm like, yeah, cool. I don't know, it feels a bit rushed. Like, it feels like they could have just not had Inej be captured at the end of book 1 and it could have just been a standalone. And it kind of feels like the stories, it feels rushed in a way, but it also feels like dragged out in another way. Like, so many things are happening that aren't really making sense timeline wise. Like, we've got these random soldiers coming to abduct Grisha. We've got Zoe, no, not Zoe, Zoya, and I can't remember the other person's name, but like, you know, like the tailor from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. They have both shown up. They were in this book. Nina ran into them and like they're helping get Grisha out of Ketterdam. Is there anything else really happening? Oh, Wyland's mom is actually alive, but like that wasn't that surprising. Like, everything that's been said about her and her death seemed suspicious. Like, it wasn't really a surprise that she was alive at all. Things are happening. I'm enjoying it. Like, it's an enjoyable book to read, and just like, I guess kind of like leave your brain at home TV, you know, like those TV shows that you just put on and you just leave your brain at home a bit. Like, it's enjoyable in that sense. Like, I'm not super eager to pick it up, which is why I've gone and got the audiobook for it. But it's fun, and as I'm reading it, I'm having fun. So yeah, I'll just check in like as and when I have an update, basically. I'll definitely check in at the end of this next part. This next part looks a lot shorter than the rest. I'm thinking things are right to kick off. Oh yeah, that's the last thing. The very last thing that's happened is Jesper, Matthias and the kid that they rescued, they're the only ones left behind in like where they've been staying, the like tomb, and it looks like they've just been found. Like, we don't really know for definite, but the windows all smashed in, and then they looked outside and they could see loads of lights and lanterns, so it sounds like they've just been found out. But like, everyone else is out like starting to put this plan into motion to both like destroy Van Eyck and also like get the Grisha out. So that's all kind of happening, but they were waiting until like the correct time for them to leave, but it looks like they might have been found. But yeah, that is where we are. Okay, so I've now got to part 5, like just finished part 4. It's alright, like it's okay. I'm struggling with it a bit still. Basically the entire plan happened during this last part, but none of it went to plan, so they need to rethink their plan, essentially, and that's kind of like it. Like, obviously a lot of stuff happened and it was good and it was fun to read, and like, you know, like I've just been listening along to it. Like, it's been like a fun read, a fun experience, but I literally just have no thoughts or feelings. Like, it's really not touching me or impacting me, and I'm just not caring enough. I don't know, like honestly, like their entire plan, basically they started it, you know, two of them went to the mansion, they almost got captured. 2 of them went to the sugar mills, almost got captured. 3 of them were at the tomb still, almost got captured. None of them got captured, they've all met up and now they need to come up with a new plan. And Jesper's dad is like involved in this, they're all like hiding out with Jesper's dad. That's kind of it. Like, it's fun, but there's just not actually like that much like content, like that much like actually going on. a lot of it, like, I mean, we're getting flashbacks from different characters still in this part, and like we are learning more about them and having like fun with that, and I feel like I know the characters pretty well. Like, all the characters are relatively likeable. There's not a lot to update on really. I'm enjoying it, I'm having a fun time reading it. There's just not a lot happening, not a lot touching me, but I'm going to keep reading and I'll just check in at the end of the next part. I think we're probably going to have enacted some sort of plan by then, hopefully. Because if not, like, I don't know, like, there's that much left. Like, that's not much. So, yeah. Okay, so I've got to part 6. That I've just finished part 5, got to part 6. During that part, listening to it, I've knitted myself a new bookmark. Need to sort the ends out, but it's actually finished. So that's cool. Yeah. So, basically the whole plan happened. They basically decided they would put the kid up for auction. Well, like, he agreed to it, and then like there was this plan in place. They'd actually be using the merchant council's money to bid, and also bidding as if they're I can't say the name of it. The original place that we were during the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which was cool because we met Strummond as well. I know I already said we've met a couple of them, but we also met Strummond, who obviously like we know is Nikolai, which was also like given away in here, like he did say. But yeah, I don't know, I thought that was really cool. But yeah, essentially the problem we've had with that is Wylan was captured, and it is said right at the end of his last chapter, which was like a couple of chapters ago, that like he told them everything, as in like he told his captors everything, which, you know, like was his dad through Pekka Rollins. We don't know if that was part of the plan or not, but is it called the Council of Tides? That's what they're called. Yeah, Council of Tides. They've just come in and like right at the end of that part have been like, this whole auction's a sham. So we have no clue what's going to happen, but it's really interesting. I'm actually really enjoying it. Like, I really am glad that I'm listening to the audio, because I do think it's making it a lot easier to just like go along with. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I still feel like we're not really getting enough time with any of the characters, which I think is why I'm not enjoying it as much, because I don't feel like I know enough. Well, I know a lot about all of them, but I'm not really seeing a lot of any of them, because like there's 6 characters that we follow in the viewpoints of here, so obviously in each part I don't think they ever get more than 2 chapters. Like sometimes they only get 1 chapter, so obviously we see them in the other people's chapters, but it's from like the person whose chapter it is, it's from their perspective. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I just feel like the way it's written, it's not very easy to like connect with the characters and like see who they are. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. I'll check in when I'm finished now, because it's all about to kick off. Okay, so I finished Crooked Kingdom last night. I actually don't know why I've already put it on my bookshelf. I don't know why, because it would have been better to hold it, but it's already on the bookshelf. Yeah, I had a good time with it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think the last 2 parts really made the story, really, and especially the last part. I really enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed like it seemed kind of concluded for everyone, but like there was still a lot of room to explore. Right at the very end we got a little bit between Kaz and Inej. Like it kind of looks like there could be something there moving forward. Jesper and Wylan are now living in the Van Eyck estate. Matthias died. I wasn't expecting that, to be fair. Matthias died, but I have had a quick look, because there's another duology that takes place after this one, and I have had a look, and I think there's like kind of 3 main characters, and I think Nina is one of the main characters in that duology as well. So I suppose it kind of makes sense. Matthias dying will lead her to be able to just go back to Ravka like by herself. Although, you know, like it was said that Matthias could go there, like he was welcome there, so like I don't know why they decided to kill him off, but they did. I think it would have been really impactful if I had like really like felt for the characters and really like felt connected to them, but I didn't. because it is quite shocking for a character to actually be killed off, especially in YA, but it just didn't have that impact because I just didn't care that much. It was like he died and I was like, wow, okay, fair enough, like, well done. Like, not in like a well done to the character way, like a well done, like you pulled that out, you decided to kill someone off, but I just hadn't connected with them enough to like truly care. So yeah, and I also quite enjoyed how they wrapped everything up with everyone else as well. Like, Wylan had purposely gotten caught, it was actually the like crows that had caught him and were pretending to be part of the other gang in front of Aunt Air. Inej killed the like shadow of herself after a fight, so like that happened. Jesper kind of discovered more about his powers and kind of became more open to them by the end of the book, with the fact that he does actually have powers and maybe he has been using them slightly all along. And yeah, it was all in all a really good time. I did enjoy it. I'm giving it 4 stars, and yeah, that's that. I would like to have come in with a better conclusion, but we are currently having the hottest day of the year right now. It is 34 degrees. This is all my brain can take. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this. And if there are any other series that you'd like me to do this with, comment them down below, because I'm always open to doing like a dedicated vlog to a series and seeing what I think. So yeah, that's all for now. Hopefully, I will see you next time. Bye!